I remember walking into the cubicle and Georgi Markov was on the trolley, sitting up. He was hot, toxic, he had a rapid pulse rate, his temperature was up. The first thing he said that I was warned 3 months ago that they're out to get me, and I've been poisoned by the KGB, and I'm going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Markov was driving to work at the BBC. He parked, as usual, below Waterloo Bridge. Markov came up the steps of the bridge towards the bus stop on the road above. As he reached the bus stop, suddenly something happened to Markov.
He suddenly felt a sharp stabbing at the back of his right thigh, and he looked around, expecting the person behind him to apologise for prodding him with an umbrella, instead of which the man hailed a taxi.
Mr. Markov finished his shift, and it wasn't until late that night at his home in Clapham that he developed high fever.
When I examined him systematically, the only thing that I could find was on the back of his thigh. He had perhaps a sort of a 6 centimetre diameter swollen area with then about a 1 to 2 millimetre central puncture mark. I thought, well, I'd best phone Scotland Yard Special Branch, because they're the sort of people who deal with defectors.
His own room at the BBC Bulgarian service was used by anti-terrorist squad detectives investigating the murder.
I thought, it can't be cyanide, that would kill you too quickly. It can't be thallium or arsenic, that's too slow. It had to be a toxin, and if it was a toxin, there might be an antidote. So I then went home, and my wife said, you should read more Agatha Christie. And she just read a book called The House of the Lurking Death, Ricin in the Figs. Now, I don't think that this was an intuitive diagnosis, it was just because of the book that she'd read at the time. But, of course, the odd thing was that she was proven right. It was ricin.
Georgie's heart had started giving out, and then I just saw the heart machine, I just saw it die away, and shortly after that he died.
I had to go to the post-mortem. I remember the pathologist taking a segment of thigh tissue where this area was. As this was being handled, a very small metallic object was dislodged as it sort of rolled onto the table, and they then looked at it under a microscope and realised that it was actually a very round, sort of circular, tiny little ball, about sort of just under 2 millimetres in diameter, and that it had holes in it, and obviously something could have been contained in those holes. They decided almost straight away that this was going to be ricin. It's an ideal poison because it's incredibly toxic. It's strange that you encounter one patient so early on in one's career that actually changes your entire life. All I wanted to be was a forensic pathologist. I wanted to be someone who looked at dead bodies, looked at laboratory findings, and decided why people died. And this was the first patient that I'm trying desperately to keep alive, and failing, and realizing that actually I didn't want to find out why people died. I wanted to try and keep them alive.